Hello and welcome. My regular viewers will be familiar with this 1947 Chevy car radio that we've been working on in a few of the videos, and will also be familiar with the fact that I've been having trouble sourcing a good solid state vibrator. Now with this 60 plus year-old vibrator that I have, it says OK on it, but that just means it will run if I give it a rap with my knuckles. Sometimes it starts on its own, sometimes it doesn't. But it runs well enough that the radio was producing 264 volts of DC on the B+, which is what it's spec'd in the schematic. Actually, it was 262, but close enough to 264. But it was having trouble starting, and you could tell the way it wavered up and down. It was on its way out, but it was good enough to test the radio and get it going, and I had suggested we replace it with a solid state vibrator. The first thing I got was this unit from Antique Electronics Supply. This is an AAR Inc. Antique Automobile Radio Incorporated solid state vibrator, 6 volt negative ground. I plugged this into the radio, and instantly the noise level doubled. It sounded like a very bad mechanical vibrator. And my B+ voltage dropped over 30 volts. It went way down. And now when I first picked this thing up, I said, it feels like it's empty. And it turned out it weighs 18 grams. So I started looking around, and a fellow named Bob turned me on to these guys here. And they have a very nice video showing their vibrator being short-circuited and reverse polarity, and showing it had the same waveform as the vibrator did. And they were extolling its virtues. So I tried to order some. They had a list of repair shops affiliated with them. You can't order directly from these people, so I contacted 8 of their vendors. I had one reply, and the fellow said, "I'm sorry, we don't sell outside the network." In other words, us mere mortals can't have a vibrator unless we send our complete radio in for repair. I found a place in Canada that never answered me. I did find a source for the place that Bob had suggested. It was in England. There was a guy in England who would resell them, but I would have had to pay shipping from England. And then in the process of looking around for other things to make videos on, I was going through schematics. I found a General Electric Model 205 radio. And when I went to look for a picture of that radio, I found a video of a guy installing a solid state vibrator in that radio. We're going to be doing a series of videos on that GE. The GE portable radio ran on a lead acid battery, 2 volt lead acid battery, and had a mechanical vibrator in it. And this guy in the video was replacing the mechanical vibrator with a unit, this unit here. This is an RVB2. This one is the 6 volt version for here, but there's a 2 volt version for that radio. Guy in Florida makes these, so I sent off a request to him, and I ordered one for this radio, and I ordered one because I've ordered one of those radios to work on the General Electric ones. I ordered a low voltage unit as well, and they came in today. Now, being a curious type, rather than send this back, I broke it open, and here's what's inside it. We have a multi-vibrator chip, we have a gate array chip, and we have a dual MOSFET. And there's a couple of passives on here, but there's nothing controlling the, and the MOSFET, by the way, is rated at 6.8 amps, and the maximum on resistance is something like 29 milliohms. So that dual MOSFET should have been able to handle the switching with no problem. So I don't think that's the problem with this unit. I think the case is the pulse width is wrong. I don't think they're controlling the, well, I know they're not, because it's just a multi-vibrator chip and a gate array. The gate array to drive the dual MOSFET. And I'm sure the pulse width is wrong. It's not tailored correctly to get the output from the transformer, and that's why I've lost 30 volts. So I cannot recommend these. They get an awful lot of money for this unit. And when you lose 30 volts of B+, no good. This unit has a small processor on it, 2 good solid independent MOSFETs. It has the ability to operate as a vibrator. Some vibrators need an enable line. You can buy them. This line here, it's not active on this one because I don't need it. But they have an enable line. The 2 outputs that here take care of what the 2 big pins on your vibrator do. This pin is the small pin here on this vibrator. And if you have a synchronous type vibrator, this is an asynchronous vibrator. If you have a synchronous type vibrator, it's also handled here. These 2 diodes here take care of the synchronous. If you have like one of the 6-pin vibrators. The guy sells these in low voltage, 2 volts, 6 to 30, and special ones for military radios, 24 volt series. He has a whole bunch of these. And I'll put it up on the screen here where his website is. The sad thing is, after 6 or 7 days of searching for solid state vibrators, and I found a lot of them that look like this or rebadged units like this, I finally found this guy accidentally by searching for that General Electric Model 205 radio. If I hadn't found that video, I would have never found these guys. They need to do something about getting more presence on the internet, increase their search engine terms or something, because this looks like it's going to work. Now I'm going to install this and give it a go. When I had the other vibrator in there, the one that didn't work out, I even added a couple of solid state diodes in here to see if I could bring the voltage up, but it still didn't bring it up anywhere near where it needed to be. So I'm going to pull these 2 additional rectifier diodes out of here, solid state diodes. I'm going to wire this up, and we're going to give this a go and see if it solves the problem. So give me a few minutes and we'll pick up from there. Okay, I have a totally dead vibrator here. I just went out and ground the flange off, this flange right here off on my belt sander. And we're going to pull this thing out of here, and I'm going to build this unit into the case. And I know this thing was dead. I even tried shocking it with 24 volts and beating it on the table to see if it'd start. I know the coil's intact because when I go across these 2 pins, I get a little spark and I can feel the weight shake. You know, it tries to start, but the points are evidently burned out of this. But I've ground away the flange. I'm going to get something in here, pick the bottom open, and we'll build that other unit into this. Okay, here we've got the guts that we took out of the other vibrator. Now I tried running 24 volts through here and whacking it on the table several times, but the points, the contacts in there are just so far gone it wouldn't start. This is the new unit in place. Now I've used an extremely heavy bus bar. This thing's so rugged right now, this will never move. The 2 small pins, which are the transformer windings, go to our switching MOSFETs on these 2 pins. And then this big pin over here is our ground. That goes to this pin right here. And we're going to plug this in and see how it works. And I've got my fingers crossed that this is going to solve our vibrator problems. I'm not going to bother putting the can on it yet. This will fit right back in the can, and I'll just epoxy it in there. In fact, there's enough of the flange left. If I pop this back in, I've got to use a pair of pliers to pull it back out. So once I buff that up with a little wire wheel and put some epoxy in there and put that on here, and then I'll mark the outside of it and let everyone know that it's a solid state vibrator. So let's put this in and see how it performs. Okay, there we have it. Our B Plus is back, 261 volts. It's down maybe a volt from what the mechanical vibrator was. But other than the noise it's here in the shack,
some 259 points higher. We had a record on Wall Street, the S&P 500 gained 0.6%.
it's nice and quiet, and I haven't even shielded the vibrator yet. I still have the can laying here on the bench. So once I put the can over that vibrator, it'll take some of that noise away. Plus there's no covers on the radio right now. So if you're going to buy a vibrator, I'm sorry, Antique Electronic Supply, Antique Automobile Radio, I cannot recommend. Oh, I'm still zoomed in. I'm a hell of a videographer, can you tell? There we go. I zoomed in so you could see the voltmeter. I can't recommend this thing. Dropped my B Plus 30 volts and it made all kinds of noise. So, sorry, that one's out. I'll put a label on here saying that this is a solid state vibrator replacement. And the only thing we got left, Thomas, is a speaker. And I've got 3 of them on order now because it looks like Amazon's going to burn me again and not deliver. So I have another one on order with eBay. Whoever gets here first wins. The other 2 I'll send back, if the other 2 even ever show up. Okay, if you're going to get a vibrator, go with the PeKo unit. I highly recommend it, and no, they're not paying me for this. I paid for these out of pocket. I'm not charging my customer for this one because I tore it up to see what was inside. I wanted to know what was in there. And now that I know what's in there, I know I won't recommend this. There's no pulse width control in here at all. It's just a multi-vibrator and a gate array to drive a single dual FET MOSFET. So, and obviously it wasn't up to the task. This one is. I'm the radio mechanic. Hope somebody found that helpful, useful. I'm sure I'm going to get some pushback from AES, but so be it. You can't sue me for telling the truth, guys. I'm not trying to knock you down. It just isn't doing the job. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye.